Dude, have you heard of Vox? Andrew Vox?
I have not.
That's his name is? So he's a I just found out about him really recently. Um, I use the Blue Heart pretty consistently. He was a child advocate and he passed away sometime around 2015 or so. And this dude was like a lawyer and ended up running a juvenile detention facility, and afterwards figured out how many of these kids had just horrific pasts and became legal guardian. No, what's it called? A law guardian for children in New York. And he wrote a bunch of books, and uh, his characters are very often what he calls children of the secret. So children who had very significant childhood trauma and never got any justice. So, anyways, this dude had a tattoo of a blue heart on his hand, and I'd never met. I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm probably sound nuts. I don't care. I went on a trip on my motorcycle and I brought a book to read that I had gone into a bookstore, some hippy dippy bookstore, just to get a book to read. And this was in 2015, right after I had attempted suicide and then gone and done this initiation process that like taught me how to meditate. And I started to question everything in my life. And I'm sitting next to my motorcycle reading this book, and I don't like the character. She's 17. She's driving like a fancy car, honking the horn to get the boy to let her out of the mansion. And she's drunk and high and just like seems like kind of like a spoiled. And she shoots out onto the Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, crashes into a highway patrol officer, goes to the hospital. They send her home, and she's overdosing on opiates. I'm just sitting there reading this book next to my bike in the desert. I'm like, whoa. And then she takes a bunch of pills and starts overdosing and overhears her mother and father making fun of her, deciding whether or not they should kill her. And then she sees the Blue Angel, and the Blue Angel takes her hand the same way the Blue Angel had taken her hand and taken her out of her body when her adopted dad was raping her as a child. And I was just like, whoa, because I remembered when something took me away. There were times when I just was not in my body, when bad stuff was happening when I was a little guy, when Thomas died. There were just times where I just wasn't there. It was too much and I was disassociated. And I'm just, whoa, sitting there looking at this book. And I look next to my bike, my assault pack sitting there in my backpack. And it's the one I carried around in Iraq with all the necessary stuff, right? Not comfort stuff, like necessary life or death medical equipment. And I saw a piece of paper in the little plastic sleeve where my name tag would have been. And then I'm like, okay. So I pull this piece of paper out and I open it, and it's a note from my daughter with a Blue Angel watermark. It said, Grace T. Dad loves you, with moons and stars all over it. And in that moment, I believe that my daughter was there before I was born. But angel
Mhm,
blue, or the Blue Angel, means disassociation.
mm,
That's a long explanation for it, but it means when we go away because the things were so bad. And
mhm,
sometimes the Blue Angel can be great, other times not so much.
mm. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, like, during even during the moments where we feel completely alone, like everything is against us, then something like that happens and the Blue Angel shows up, and it's almost like we never are, uh, completely alone and completely abandoned. There's always something there
I
to
believe so.
yeah.
I believe so.